Once upon a time, in a land far, far away called Adamshire, a party was held at the Proton Palace. Everyone in the land was invited except the witch. The witch had a standing rivalry with the Proton family, but all the same, she wanted to go to the party. Angry at the family for not allowing her in, she ran off to her lair to plan her revenge. The witch spent years plotting her revenge, and finally the day came for her plan to be put in action. She kidnapped the 4 daughters of the Proton family and hid them in the cellar of her house. A few days later, knights came looking to rescue the princesses and found the witch's hideout. They tried to get in, but the witch, deciding to have some fun with her captives, cast a curse on the knights and the princesses.
The curse was very powerful. Each princess fell in love with a knight, and each knight fell in love with a princess. The knight's mission to rescue the princesses was much more important to them now, considering that they were in love. The two would stop at nothing to be together. The knights tried over and over to enter the witch's lair and free the princesses, only to be defeated each time.
The reason for their defeat was that the knights fought amongst themselves constantly. They're all charged with negative energy, which causes them to argue. Anytime one of them comes up with a plan of how to defeat the witch, they yell at each other about how stupid the plan is and about other knightly stuff. They can't agree on a plan of action. Every attempt they make to rescue the princesses gets deflected by the witch.
Sadly, the princesses were having a similar problem. Fights would constantly erupt between them in their small cell. If nobody came to help the sisters, they would surely tear each other apart. The knights were fighting among themselves as well, so the princesses all agreed, for once, to call upon their fairy godmothers to help them.
Now each princess has their own fairy godmother to keep them safe. Every day that they are trapped in the cellar, the fairy godmothers have to break up fights between the princesses. The princesses argue over which knight is coming to save them and how glorious their rescue will be. The fairy godmothers try to end the fighting by telling the princesses that the knights will come for them all and that everyone's rescue will be amazing, but the princesses don't listen. Eventually, the fairy godmothers are able to keep the princesses from fighting, although the princesses, by no means, like each other.
So that's how it ends. Yeah, I know. The princesses never get saved, and the knights never find their true love. I guess that means that the evil witch won. But I'm sorry to tell you that this happens all the time in real life. No, don't be sad. It's not what you think. Allow me to blow your mind. Everything in the world, no, the universe, is made up of a bunch of little things called atoms. Atoms are made up of even smaller things called particles. And like the characters in the story, there are different types of particles. Electrons are like the knights. They stay on the outside. They don't like being near each other, and they want to get closer to the protons. So that would make protons princesses. They attract electrons, or knights, closer to them. They stay on the inside and don't like being so close together. The only reason that they don't bust out is because of a special particle called a neutron, or, in this case, fairy godmother. The neutrons act as a glue for the protons in an atom, just as a fairy godmother keeps the princesses together in the dungeon.
Remember how the knights were always putting each other's ideas down? That was because the witch cast a negative curse on them. But in the atom, the electrons don't have a negative curse on them. They have something called a negative charge. The exact opposite happened to the princesses. The witch put a positive curse on them, making them want to always be better than their sisters. That would mean that protons have a positive charge. So what would that make the witch's lair? That would be a special place called the nucleus. Just like in the picture, the nucleus is in the center of the atom. The protons and neutrons never leave the nucleus, and the electrons never get in. So in a way, every centimeter of everything in the universe is made up of a dramatic love story between the electrons and protons.